Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah.
Hi there, folks. I'm Dan Hollifield. I hope the microphone is working. Welcome to Stupid O'Clock. Joe Dog is at a convention this weekend.
Hey, Dan,
There's
your mic's
not
not
a big
working.
problem. My mic's muted? Okay.
Oh.
Damn it,
Hi,
John.
I'm John Scarborough, and I'm a professional ass.
And on that note, we have somebody that actually does get paid for this stuff. And hey, Rich, deer in headlights moment. Oh.
All right. Let me see. I wanted to throw this up here real quick while I'm doing fun stuff. Okay. There's a big convention down. There's a big convention down in Huntsville, Alabama. Joe's down there. I think Chris is down there. I'm not sure if Chris is there or not, but Stephanie Osborne lives in Huntsville, and she went down there. And basically, she went down there for one reason. And this is the one reason. Yes, that is our own Rocket Mama with William Shatner. The highlight of her day. And what's funny is she didn't know anybody was taking the picture. A friend of hers took the picture and then sent it to her.
Yeah.
Like,
apparently, from what she posted, she thanked Bill Shatner for all his work on Star Trek, which got her interested in becoming a rocket scientist, even though I'm sure she got started long before Star Trek, probably in the cradle. And he goes, well, thank you. I mean, she'll tell it better than us.
I don't know who Facebook user is. Maybe it's Joe.
Oh, and there's Chris.
There's Chris. And hi, Sarah. You got Donna and Carl. And
hey, you're quicker on that scroll than I was. I hadn't even clicked on brand yet.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, we are professionals. They pay us not to do this.
Oh, that's
it's Stephanie.
Wait a minute. How are you a Facebook user and not
because it's been a certain period of time since she went on Facebook and gave them permission to use their name in this, and Facebook just kind of wipes the records every once in a while.
Uh-oh.
We got a ping. Oh, it's a blank screen. Do we dare click on it? It says it's Joe Dog.
No, it's got Joe Dog's name attached to it. Don't click on it. Damn it, Dan.
No, I saw the corpse-like visage. I knew it was him. In 6 hours, he'll say something.
Hello?
Damn it. You don't.
I'm just checking to see what all started. No, I was just checking to see what started and what didn't.
Are
there any alerts?
Nope, not.
And they're all working?
All 7.
As far as we know. I mean, seriously, we're not checking them all. I don't even have a Twitch account.
No,
I can't check.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it tells you don't. Yeah, well, if it's not working, it'll show you an alert that it's not going out to it. That's the thing.
Mark.
They got green check marks on all of them. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wait a minute. What is it? Oh,
there we go.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. Then we're good to go. Then. All right. You may get what?
Joe Dog, you got to stop stealing internet.
You may get a new person pop in, cooking with Dad or something like that. That bad, huh?
Can you? Yeah, you are picket fence like crazy.
I guess so. See y'all later.
I'm on my phone too, but I don't know.
Well, your phone is a whole lot better than his phone.
That's
let
not
me
a
tell
good
you.
sign. Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Likewise, I'm on my phone too, so I don't know. It's lagging really bad.
But you're back home, right?
Yeah, I just haven't booted the computer.
Yeah, Joe's at the hotel, so he's using hotel internet.
Yeah. Am I coming across okay?
Oh, so far, yeah.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine. There was a little hiccup at the beginning, but you're doing fine now.
Okay. Yeah, it was really kind of cool because one of my earliest really intense thought-provoking is of two things. One is the Apollo fire, and the other is the original run of Star Trek. And I looked at the one and I said, this is where we are now. And these guys obviously thought it was important enough to be risking their lives for. And I looked at the other one and I said, and that's where we could wind up someday. And I decided I wanted to help get from over here to over there. And if I hadn't had an over there to see and to think about and to shoot for, then I might not have bothered. I might have just said, oh, well, it's just another one of those things and gone on. But because of Star Trek, I did pretty much from then on out decide I was going to work in the space program. And we're talking elementary school here, okay? Early elementary school. Yeah,
well, and I'm glad you weren't a Logan's Run fan.
Yeah.
Or Soylent Green.
Yeah, Soylent Green. Yeah, that's another good one.
Although they are selling that these days.
Yeah.
A girl and her dog.
Yeah. But yeah.
No, this is more a girl and her cat.
Oh, no. Hey, there's an idea, Stephanie.
Don't even go there.
Make a parody. Make a parody of a boy and his dog called A Girl and Her Cat, and like.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so when I got up to meet Shatner, I basically told him that I wanted to thank him because had it not been for him and the rest of the cast, I might not have spent 20 years in the space program training astronauts and sitting console for shuttle missions. And his eyes got really big and he kind of rocked back in his chair. And he says, really? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for your work. And I said, no, sir, thank you for the inspiration. And that was pretty much the extent of the interaction because there were other people in line. So,
yeah.
But
Still,
yeah.
it's a touching human moment. It really is.
Yeah. And what surprised me is I guess I figured in Huntsville, he would have heard that already, but evidently he had not. But it might be some folks take themselves way too seriously.
We don't know anybody like that.
No. And I don't. So, I acknowledge where I get my inspirations and where I get my ideas, and sometimes it's from watching a really classic good TV show. So, and he didn't do any of his classic Shatnerisms.
Oh, darn it.
Well, you know why he does those, right? He was trained as a classical stage actor.
Yeah.
So, when you're doing stage, 1, you have to project. 2, you have to make sure that you're enunciating in such a fashion that the entire audience can hear you without running over yourself.
And
3, you have to make things much bigger and broader than you would if you were face to face with somebody.
And Shakespeare was fond of those speeches with the dramatic pauses in them.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, that's how he learned. I think it works. It certainly makes for a unique style.
They have. Sorry, I just got a news alert. They have successfully evacuated the U.S. Embassy staff in Sudan. Apparently, we are reducing our presence there until they quit shelling people.
Oh, I was not aware of any. I haven't seen the news in several days.
There's been a big conflict. There's a military coup basically going on in Sudan.
Oh, okay.
And there's two generals that are fighting against each other. And their forces are, and it's in Khartoum is the main, in and around the capital of Khartoum.
Okay.
And apparently they've already killed one American by, I don't know if it was intention or accident, but caught in the crossfire, so to speak. So.
Well,
Hey, McCullough.
well,
And
well, I know Joe and I can't remember. John, were you on for the launch?
yes.
Yes, I thought it. Yeah, I thought it was you. I was not awake that morning, to be honest. But
yeah, it is. You know, that's the one problem with being a Rocket fan, along with Joe, is you have to like wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Stay up until 2 or 3 a.m.
Well, when you consider that this morning I didn't get to sleep until after 5 a.m, it would have been easier if it had been that early.
Damn it! Why can't they set these launch windows up for a more reasonable time?
Reasons.
I usually wound up on the launch shift for the shuttle missions that I worked because they were often at night, and I could cycle over to the night shift easier than anybody else on the team. So,
I wanted to ask: is that just because the Earth was pointed in the right direction at the time, or is there an atmospheric reason for trying to launch these things at night?
no, it's more to do with what type of mission you're going to do and what the target objective is, and then you look at you figure out how long it's going to take you to get to this point and rendezvous with whatever target objective you're trying to do. And it may not necessarily be a thing, it may be an event. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so then you run it backwards and you determine your launch window as being, okay, if everything goes well, we can still get off at this point, and otherwise we back up from there and give ourselves some slack, and that's the opening of the launch window, and you get the idea.
When I was in the engineers, we had this thing called the volcano mine system, and it was these big panels that you would either mount in an armored vehicle, but there were these tubes, and each tube was 2.5 feet long, something like that, held 6 mines. And funny enough, they use airbag technology to deploy the mines.
Okay, I can see that.
So when they fire this thing, it kicks these 6 mines out. It kicks 6 this way, 6 this way. You know, each panel's pointing in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll shoot them almost 50 meters from the vehicle. One vehicle with the panels in the back can lay a minefield that is 100 meters wide by 300 meters long. And there's a little computer on board. You tell it what speed you're going to be driving at, and you get your vehicle up to that speed. And when you hit the edge of the minefield, you punch the enable button, and it starts kicking out mines every few seconds as you're driving through the minefield.
So it's, as long as you maintain that speed, it's kind of automated.
Yes, and it separates them properly. And then basically all you have to do is put up a warning wire around the minefield saying, hey, it's a minefield, and everything else is automated from there. And they arm, if I remember, it depends on the mine, I think, but they deploy about 2 minutes after they hit the ground. They arm automatically.
Okay.
And then they've actually got a self-destruct built into it that once they arm, 4 hours later, or depends on how you program them when you launch them, but anywhere from 4 hours to 4 days, I think it is.
Okay.
They'll self-destruct, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
And you can order the tubes with mixes of, they have 2 mines, anti-personnel and anti-armor. And you can usually the first one out, and the one that's closest to the edge of the minefield, is anti-personnel. And then all the rest of the other 5 are anti-armor. But you can order just anti-personnel or all anti-armor, depending on what you want. But they can put these panels on the side of a Black Hawk helicopter. Fly the Black Hawk helicopter to a certain speed over the minefield, click the enable button, and it starts kicking mines out really, really fast as it's flying over the minefield. There's just one problem. These things are heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would
So the
think.
thing is, you can only use this thing, and this is the hilarious part, you can only use it at night.
Because
The air is cooler and heavier, and the chopper gets more lift in the cooler air than it would. If you take it out to the desert, this thing won't get off the ground when it's full.
dang.
It's a heavy. Wow.
It's that
I didn't
heavy,
know
yeah.
that. And actually, if you do it right, if you program it to self-destruct soon, you don't need a tractor. The field is plowed.
Strange
Well,
enough,
at least they have the self-destruct option going there.
That's
and you
that's
can
something I
actually-
never knew of before. Yes, I'm glad to know that.
all the modern electronic mines, which is they call it FASTCAM, family of artillery scatterable mine, or family of scatterable mines, and they're all electronically armed. Well, they all come with this electronic self-destruct. You can actually disable that if you want to. There's a code for it. You're not supposed to, but in an emergency, if you say I got to leave this minefield here until the war is over, you can disable the self-destruct. But usually, like I'm trying to remember, the Mopums, which is the suitcase version of it, is 4 hours, but you can use the controller to change that. But it's kind of funny. You have to change it like every 3 hours and 45 minutes. Because if you get too close to the 4 hour deadline, the mine may not get the message.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This device is ignoring you. Welcome to Alexa.
Computer, cancel self-destruct. Please restate the message.
Oh, y'all were messing with my glasses. I actually had to go into, y'all know I took a real header a few weeks back, right?
You mentioned something, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually had to go in and get to the eye doctor and get my glasses bent back into the right shape. I could not, I literally could not keep them on my face. They were smushed flat and sliding off and everything else.
We're going to have to get you some of those Riddick goggles that strap around your head. And,
you laugh. Where the heck is it? Hang on a second.
Strangely enough, when first time we got deployed to Iraq, they started issuing us Wiley X goggles.
Mm-hmm.
And the first ones we got were the Riddick goggles.
Okay.
It's just like the ones in the movie. The only difference is they've got the Wiley X logo on the elastic band.
Mm-hmm.
Which they're great. It's kind of funny. You can pull that elastic band, you can pull the clips off, and it actually comes with regular arms.
Yeah.
For the thing. Or you can pull it off, put the goggles on. And the goggles are nice if you're doing something with a lot of activity, especially something where you got to hang upside down or left or right or something like that. My only problem with them is because of the contoured shape.
Uh-huh.
Even though they're supposed to be in a plastic protective frame, the frame sticks out past the goggles, they still scratch together. You just can't. You kept rubbing them on the stuff, scratching them, and they're polycarbonate, so they scratch pretty easy. But.
Yeah. They're great for protecting your eyes, but they scratch easily. I'm trying. I got y'all bigger now. I turned my phone sideways, but now it makes me look like I'm.
Big giant head. Yes.
Yeah.
The supreme leader.
Well, not only that, but because the camera is over there.
You're looking off to the left.
Yeah, I'm looking at y'all, but the camera's over there, so it's.
First world problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick, you have not said a word since I've gotten on here. You okay?
Yeah, it's just been a long day.
He's got a mouthful
know
of
that.
taters and carrots. That's what that is. So.
Actually, no, I finished that. I was munching on pretzels.
Okay, it's cool. I just making sure that I didn't screw something up by popping in.
No,
Oh Lord, no.
it's always
Yes,
good to have you
the
in.
world is now out of balance, and it's going to spin off into the universe as a rogue planet just because you showed up on our show.
We've been missing you lately.
Well,
We're glad you came in.
I've been trying to work it where I would get back on, and if it's not one thing, it's three. You know.
Yeah, I definitely know that feeling.
I've been running back and forth a lot to Nashville because my mom has been in and out of the hospital, and my sister can only do so much. Bless her heart. Good night, Joe Dog. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. And so I try to go up there when I can and help out, but I never know when I'm going to have to go up. And then I'm worn out because I'm running back and forth and I'm doing all the household whatevers by myself now. And I'm stressed. And some nights I sleep well and some nights I don't. And so that just makes me even tireder. And so sometimes I just haven't felt like doing much.
These are
So.
those Wiley X goggles I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great.
Except when they're not.
Well, and the problem is these things are scratched. I can barely see you at the moment, but they're scratched all the heck. And
Yeah.
And this is what all the operators are using, because no matter what you did, you pull your helmet off and come over, and you didn't yank your glasses off. And especially if you're a gunner up on top of one of the Humvees, you're constantly on the gun looking around at stuff like this. And of course, you had the whole sand and everything when you were driving through sandstorms and fun stuff like that. But you were constantly yelling. We didn't have the commo sets yet.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were the gunner up top of a machine gun, you were constantly leaning down and yelling at people what you were doing, singing, and stuff like that. So you're constantly doing this.
Yeah.
And your sunglasses. And I cannot tell you how many people have lost sunglasses.
Yeah.
Just looking down into the vehicle to yell something, and their sunglasses fall off. I have very fast reflexes. Now it's there, and the gunner would bend over to yell something. I'd see his glasses come off. I cannot tell you how many times I've caught sunglasses.
I used to wear the polycarbonates back when I played polo because, you know, it it was at least a little bit of protection for my eyes, especially once I got a helmet with a face guard on it. So, although one time I did get the ball wedged in between the brim of the helmet and the face guard.
That's a scary feeling, ain't it?
About this far from my nose.
Has anybody here ever been to Tybee Island? On the other side of Savannah, Georgia.
I have not been there. One of my best friends from college is from there, so
Really?
I got to hear lots of stories about it.
What's on Tybee Island? I've been to St. Simon's Island and visited some of the surrounding islands.
Tybee Island is sometimes referred to as the Redneck Riviera.
Yeah, I don't think I've been there.
Okay, but it's pretty cool. It's interesting. It's on a long island along the coast. There's one road and one bridge going out to it.
It's a barrier island, yeah.
Yeah. There's a Civil War fort out there called Fort Pulaski, which is pretty cool. If you ever get a chance, it's a pretty neat area to go to. It's got a nice beach, got a lighthouse. You've got the original crab shack is there, which I highly recommend. And it's a pretty nice place. They've got an interesting oceanographic biology. It's like a museum.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an aquarium you go to see all the stuff, but it's a school. College students come there to train in marine biology and such. And they've got a pier for fishing and fun stuff. Really nice beach, really laid back most of the time. And there's, for some strange reason, there's just not really a lot of people that go out there not like Daytona Beach or Myrtle Beach, where you'd be lucky if the beach is so crowded you can't set your beer can down.
Yeah.
And but it's
spring
just
break.
real nice. The only problem with Tybee Island is the atomic bomb.
I was about to say, if you've got a metal detector, one of the attractions is that somewhere around that place, the Air Force lost a nuclear weapon. And
Yes.
it's still there.
They never recovered it. And then, originally when they dropped it, they said, oh yeah, it was a full atomic bomb. And then later they said, no, it was not a full atomic bomb. It didn't have a pit in it for training purposes. And I'm like, it's got a pit in it, because they wouldn't have said that. That would have been the first thing they said when they dropped it. It was not.
Yeah, really. No, it wasn't a flying saucer. It was a weather balloon.
It took a congressional investigation to figure out that it wasn't armed, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And I've read into this sort of stuff about the broken arrows and the lost weapons and the ones that have never been recovered or even completely recovered. That's kind of scary how many of them things are missing.
Yeah. Look for the fish that are glowing in the dark.
Actually, I want to find that three-eyed fish from The Simpsons and name him Blinky.
Blinky. Okay.
Get out of my head, John.
Yes. What? If I were a taxidermist, I would make one of those and put it in my fish aquarium. Okay. Yeah, look what I found up by the nuclear plant.
Yeah, but then you darn well better take pictures and post it if you do. And say exactly that. Look what I found out by the nuclear plant.
I don't know a lot of people that do like Photoshop special effects and stuff like that. But if there are any on here, you've just been challenged.
I used to be married to one, and yes, he could have done that. So
it reminds me of one of Dad's stories from when I was a kid. He's talking about the two-headed fish and the three-headed swans that were out around Oak Ridge. Going.
At my high school, I was there was one building that housed the science department, as it were, and it was a circular building, so you had the classrooms around the periphery, and then you had central teacher's office and storage for material in the inner circle around the teachers' offices. I like it, John.
Oh, the reason I mentioned Tybee Island and then got completely off track with nuclear weapons is
you're easily distractible.
If you go down Tybee Island, you will find this place called Chew's. CHU. Chew. Chew was this guy that opened a gift shop in Tybee Island. And then apparently people were complaining about having to walk from various distances on the island to his gift shop. So he opened another one. And another one. He's basically the Dollar General store of Tybee Island.
Okay.
You can't walk 100 yards without finding a Choose kiosk. I kid you not. He has one big store and several small ones, like franchises. And it's all the same place. So you go in there and it's got all the seashell stuff, and the beach towels. And
when I was in high school, that one of the things that they had in the stored in the biology section of equipment was a two-headed piglet. Perfectly, just, and it was in a big jar of formaldehyde.
I knew a guy that had a two-headed king snake. It was alive. It could eat whole 9 yards. He named it Romulus and Remus.
Okay.
Which I was like, love the name. Okay.
Yeah. I guess that the piglet was actually born locally. I grew up out in the country, so it was a rural school. And that it had actually been born alive but did not survive long. So
back to my Chew story.
Yeah.
I got 2 pairs of sunglasses for $8. Turns out both pairs were like $20 sunglasses. I don't think they knew what they had. But
it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was one. I keep this one up here just because I have no use for it otherwise. But the other pair stays in the truck. And they're polycarb lenses, and they've got the flexible frames.
Oh yeah.
Which for somebody that's as rough on glasses as I am, that's almost a must.
I wound up pulling an old set of prescription sunglasses out of the cabinet so that I could mow the yard because it was really bright when I was out on the riding mower. Thursday or Friday, I forget exactly.
Yes, I was mowing my yard Thursday.
Farmer's tan.
Well, these things were in the van, in the little sunglasses cubbyhole pocket.
Yeah.
The van got hot enough to where the plastic frame melted, so the lenses are now turned outward rather than inward.
Well, I bet that's cross-eye making.
Well, no, because I don't notice. I'm just wearing them for the sunglasses part. I mean, it's my yard. I don't have to see where I'm going. I didn't need that tree anyway. Hey, that's not my irises. My irises are okay. I'll have to replant that. I really would like to get them reshaped so that they actually are pointed in the right directions rather than looking cross-eyed. But if I take them to an optometrist, they're just going to say, these are 27-year-old prescription. You really shouldn't be wearing these. I'm going, yeah, they're cross-eyed.
You remember the 1950s and 60s, the big horn-rimmed glasses that all the women were wearing at the time? In the other room here, I've got a bunch of my grandmother's old furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Cedar chest and a makeup table, or dressing table, I guess they call it. But I keep finding pairs of her old sunglasses.
Oh,
that are like the old rhinestones, studded. I'm sitting here going, I wonder if them things are worth anything.
To a collector, perhaps.
One of the things, my mom gave me all this stuff. So I've got it's kind of interesting. That cedar chest, Grandpa's old straight razor.
Wow.
Or I'm sorry, not straight razor. The one you twist the handle and the jaws open up and you put the
Safety
inside of the
razor,
blade.
yes.
Safety razor. Thank you. I could not remember that name. Just somehow those two words really don't go together.
Safety razor. Yes.
Safety and razor. I mean,
Military
Now-
intelligence.
yeah, military intelligence is another good
Got both
one.
of them.
Got a cousin that made a living out of that. Now, I went to a party in college where the host, it was his grandmother's house. She had gone into a home, and the family was cleaning out the house, and he just turned us loose and said, "Look, if you find anything you want, put it in your car, take it home. Otherwise, it's just going to be, distributed to different shops around town and everything." I got a complete set of ironware china, and I found these,
Cool.
and these are actual Fresnay, and I took them to an optometrist and had the lenses put into my prescription. So I can actually these were my steampunk glasses. I would walk around with these, and people go, "Hey, where's the earpieces on there?" And I go, "Earpieces? We don't need no stinking earpieces." And they're fantastic. They are fantastic. They're very difficult to keep clean.
That cedar chest. Oh, I can remember playing in that cedar chest as a kid. And then after I joined the military and my mom got hold of it, she painted the cedar chest.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And one of these days I'm going to get a wild hair up my
Nose.
yeah, and strip the paint off of it, see if I can't refinish it. But I'm not exactly sure how to refinish cedar.
Well, you shouldn't have to do a whole lot, but strip off the paint, sand it smooth, and maybe oil it.
That's I mean, yeah, well, it's cedar. It's every wood's a little different. So.
Yeah, it depends on how much it's soaked it up, how much you're going to have to sand it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And whether or not you can use paint stripper on it or something like that. But and it's cheap. It's like she used like house paint. It's horrible. And anyway,
you should be able to fix that.
Yeah.
Well, one of the issues with it is, like I said, when I was a kid, we used to play with it. I'm pretty sure most of the dents in the top of that thing are my fault. So
This is true.
Sentimental value.
It is, and somewhere down the line, apparently, I'm not sure who did it. It has a lock on the front.
Mm-hmm.
No keys, and apparently someone took a screwdriver to lock to get it unlocked. Which
Okay.
I don't know if I can fix that or not. I might. I'll look into it.
Take another screwdriver, take the lock off, but
That's just it. The locks, it ain't working. So I would literally
lock
have
is
to,
in it.
I would have to pull the lock apart, bend it back into place, bend the casing for the lock.
oh, just dismount it and replace it with a brand new lock is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's probably your best bet.
You can probably go to one of the places where people have done similar things and damaged antiques, and someone has tried to pull the hardware, like the hinges and the locks and whatever, off, and given the rest up as a bad deal, or just recycle it as something else, and get something from the period. Or you could go with something totally modern.
Actually,
in case you
I'd be willing
actually
to bet
wanted it to be a
I'd
safe
be
lock.
willing to bet I can yank that lock apart and hammer and anvil it back into condition. But
That still doesn't give you the key.
I can build a key. It ain't that hard. It's a bit of brass and a file. You are talking to someone that owns lockpicks, okay? Oh, and by the way, if you ever have to buy a padlock that you really need to work, don't buy a master lock.
I've got lockpicks too.
They're not flat, but they do work pretty good.
Yes.
Sir. I was playing around with lock, and I said, I wonder, and I bought a set of lock picks, and I was like, I wonder how hard this really is, so I went.
My actual picks are back there somewhere.
I went and got a master lock, put the little lever into it, ran the lock pick. It didn't take me 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I'd ever used lock picks. And a lock popped open. I'm like, whoa, that's faster than the damn key.
Master locks rake very easy.
I actually saw.
Unless you get the really expensive ones.
That's unless you work for government and get the ones they use in jails. No, that's yeah.
I actually
the
saw
civilian
someone
master
take
locks.
one of those,
You
one
wasted
of the
your money.
ones with a brass body, and they took the curved fingernail clippers, the scissors, and were opening that thing within a minute. And after they figured it out the first time, it was quicker than actually trying to find the key and put it in.
There was a company. There's a company called American. They make padlocks. They have and the U.S. military uses them. It's a 5200 series lock. Easy enough to remember. And the reason these things are so cool is once you open it, you can run a Phillips screwdriver down through the hasp thing, and you can pull the entire thing apart, and then change the tumblers to whatever you want to match a key. You could. I knew an armorer, and you're not supposed to do this, but he took a brass welding rod, clipped bits of it off, filed them down the right size, and changed every padlock in his arms room to run off of one key.
I can see why you're not supposed to do that. It's very convenient for the person that does it.
Because I've run an arms room. I've had that key ring. And the one I had 38 keys on it, and you had to know which one went to which lock on which rack, and it just
It weighed
After a while.
17 pounds, more or less, I bet.
No kidding. You could have beat somebody death with that damn thing. But eventually you remember which key goes to which lock.
That key ring had a way heavier
That's part
than
of my
the load
brain.
out of most people.
That's part of my brain, is that I can still remember which locks I had in the arms room, which order they were in my arms room, and which key it was on that big damn key ring. But the really cool thing about Series 5200 locks are, you put the key in, you unlock the lock, you can't pull the key out until you lock the lock again.
Uh-huh.
And that feature makes it extremely difficult to pick the lock, which is why the military uses them in the first place. The only problem with Series 5200 lock, 5-pound ball peen hammer makes short work of it.
Mm-hmm. Inch and a half boxed in wrench makes short work of them too. Believe me. We had a malfunctioning lock. It was on somebody's locker. They had retired years ago, and management wanted to do a locker inspection. And they were desperate to get in there, but they didn't want to go to the storeroom and get the big thing that actually
Bolt
clipped
cutter.
through the hasp, the bolt cutters. And they were going, how can we open this? And I went out to the car and I got the biggest wrench that I had, walked back in, I smacked it one time
I've
and
seen
go,
guys do that.
here you go.
They'll take two large open end wrenches and wrench the lock apart that way. I think
No, I just smacked it. I mean, it destroyed the lock.
we had
But-
lockers at the National Guard for people's gear and stuff like that, and they would constantly lose the keys for them. And it had the little thing on the front where you'd open the locker with that little handle.
Hey, Zach.
And it had a key built into it, but you could put your own padlock on it, which is what most people did. But somebody would occasionally go in there and put their sheet metal keys into the thing and lock that. And then if they lost those sheet metal keys, the locker was locked. Nobody could get into it.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in there. I said, give me a second. I grabbed 2 axes from the Pioneer toolbox. Just regular old, wood cutting axes. And there's 2 screws that are rivets, basically, that hold that lock in place. The screws on the inside, there's a rivet face on the outside. I put one right on top of that rivet face, popped it with the other one, knocked both the rivet heads on. Pushed the lock in, opened the door, says, there you go. And they were going to get mad at me for breaking the lock. And I said, dude, it's 2 screws. It's literally, it's 50 cents at the hardware store. Here's 20. Here, they're 50 cents. Go buy you some new screws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's amazing that how well it has often been pointed out that it doesn't matter how complicated a lock is. It's only going to keep out an
Locks only work on honest people.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Yeah, I hate to do it, but I need to get out of here because I also have to get up.
Before you leave, I want to show you something. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Sorry,
he's begging, so go ahead.
No, I'm not actually begging. I'm stalling. There's a big difference. I was sending Zach. Zach, I just sent a link to your Facebook page. Okay. Let me see here. What was it? Oh, here's what I want to do. Okay. Hey, Stephanie, you went to a sci-fi convention today, didn't you?
Actually, today, no, I didn't.
Or was it yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday. Who took this picture?
Well, I don't want to get him in trouble.
Oh, that's what I figured as much. Okay.
I didn't know until afterwards that he did it, and I didn't know until another friend actually tried to do it, and they fussed at her. So, anyway.
That was an unpaid for picture.
Forgetting Shatner's face in the image.
Yeah.
You didn't give him like $200 or whatever it is, $500, whatever his ego takes.
Not for that. No, I gave as it was $120 just to get his autograph.
Wow. Hey, Zach.
Hello.
Zach. Just in time. You can take my place. I'm gone, guys. I'm gonna try and help out Joe tomorrow.
Okay. Good night, Steph.
Right. Good night, Stephanie.
If I can
Get some
figure out how to
sleep.
get out of here on my phone.
That's one of the advantages to go to.
Usually throwing it up against the wall works.
Yeah, I want to keep my phone. I just want to get off of get out of the studio.
Oh, there it went. Okay.
She got it.
Who turned off Zach's microphone?
I did.
Right.
You don't want to hear this snuffling mess.
So you're still in Boca Chica, yes?
I am in Florida.
Oh.
I'm on the Space Coast. I could walk out the door and look at the vehicle assembly building.
Ooh. Well, and here you are staring at us. That's
It's pretty dark outside, and there was a lot of lightning, so figured this is safer.
I used to live in Orlando a long time ago. that's where I learned all
My
about heat
condolences.
lightning. Is every night, it is like, you got used to it after a while. Oop, we lost. Oh, that's Dan's going.
Well, it lasts 5 minutes, or you walk 10 feet left or right, and then you're not in it.
It's kind of funny. When I went to Orlando, we were living in the Foxcroft Apartments, which was this nice little apartment complex. Tennis court, swimming pool in the middle. Had the clubhouse, those kind of apartments. And used to have to. We were living on the back side of the apartments. I used to have to walk through the entire apartment complex to get up to the bus stop to go to school in the morning. Went to Red Bug Elementary School. Yes, Red Bug. Okay. And back when I went, the school had only been open for like 2 years. Brand new school, real cool looking building. And walking to school, there'd be oranges and all the orange trees that were decorating the apartment. I'd stop on my way to the school bus, climb a tree, grab an orange, go get on the school bus, eat my orange on the school bus. The year I was there, we only stayed in that area for a year. My mom's husband at the time, he was her second husband. He's the guy that raised me. He worked for TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, and he was a union electrician. And he was down there working on something because Orlando was really growing back then. And just everything was new electricity. And so he had a huge job down there. And went to school one day, sitting in the classroom, and the gym teacher came screaming through the building. And the teacher's like, "What's the matter?" He goes, "Plane just crashed." And they disappeared, heading to the office. Somebody crashed a small plane. The pilot had a heart attack behind the controls of the airplane. And these big water cooling air conditioners they have, the big tower jobs, it's about the size of a small house. They had one of those next to the school that was the main air conditioner. Kept the building cool. Crashed into that. That's that close to the school. And they evacuated the school and sent us home. That was my big claim to fame in Orlando.
Well, I'm glad that didn't happen to me tonight while landing.
There were 3 things I really remember about Orlando, Florida. 1, the oranges. 2, the plane crashing into the side of the school. And 3, sand lions. There's this little bug that lives in the sand that goes down and he digs this little trap. And it's about 2 inches across. And it's a perfect cone in the sand. That's how you spot them. You look down, you'll see a perfect circular cone in the sand. And if you take a little blade of grass or something like that and you poke it right in the center of that thing, that sand lion will grab that piece of grass and try to kill it. Because they are an opportunistic trapping insect. And the reason they call them sand lions is they'll sit there in their little hole in their trap. And if an ant or any other bug gets close to that and slides down into the pit, they'll jump out and kill the bug and eat it. And we used to have more fun on the playground playing with those things. You just stick a piece of grass in there and pull a little bug up on the end of the piece of grass.
Dandelion stems were good for that.
Really? This is like living in a desert. There weren't any dandelions. They just built this school and they had to clear all the land to build the school. There was nothing there. It was sand. Our playground looked like it was built in the middle of a desert.
Ours looked like it was built in the middle of Oak Ridge.
Okay, so Zach, why are you in Florida right now other than vacation?
Rockets. There's hopefully Falcon Heavy on Wednesday if the weather's good.
What are they launching on the Falcon Heavy?
Good question. I should look that up.
It's one of those secret Air Force cargoes, huh?
I think so. I know they're throwing away all 3 boosters. I can tell you in 30 seconds what it is.
They're throwing away all 3 boosters.
Yeah. 2 used boosters and 1 new one. And all 3 are being expended. It is Viasat 3 Americas. They're launching
that one up. If they're getting rid of all 3 of the boosters, that's a big cargo that's going up into a high orbit. So that does sound military.
Yeah, so there's that. And then there was supposed to be a Delta 4 Heavy, a Vulcan, and a Starliner on an Atlas 5 all in the next 3 weeks. But they have all politely decided to delay.
Wait a minute, so, Atlas 5? I thought we quit using them things.
We've got I think we got 18 left, 19 left. They stopped selling them a couple years ago.
Okay.
But we still got a few left.
Yeah, because they were going to Vulcan.
Yeah, we'll see Atlas till 2025, 2026, roughly. And then hopefully we'll see Vulcan in the next month or 2. So I'll be down here for a few Falcon Heavies, a bunch of Falcon 9s, of course.
For those
second class Delta 4
of you in our viewing audience that don't know, they've been using variants of the Atlas rocket since the 1950s.
Yeah. And
apparently they're still using the darn things, the Atlas 5. They're replacing it with a new version called the Vulcan, which is going to be hydrogen powered or something? Or it's supposed to be a greener rocket.
Yeah. It's a greener, more powerful, more universal.
Runs on tofu or something. I don't know. But
don't give them ideas.
Don't give them ideas.
Runs on Taco Bell.
But and then of course, now what was the other one you were talking about? Was ULA had something going up?
The second last Delta 4 Heavy.
Now, the Delta 4
that lights on fire before it launches.
Right, it's got the hydrogen plume that runs up the side.
Yeah.
Are they discontinuing those like the Atlas?
Everything is being discontinued by ULA for Vulcan. It's all going to Vulcan.
It's all going to Vulcan. Are they going to have a Vulcan Heavy, or do we know?
There's been a joke of it, and there is a 3D model of it in Tori Bruno's office. So it's definitely been talked about, but they want to get Vulcan off the wall first. They've sold 200 Vulcan missions already or something. So,
which is pretty good for a rocket that hadn't flown yet.
Yeah.
What is that? There's a company in New Orleans that makes rockets. And they used to make parts for the Saturn V.
Michoud.
Is that okay?
I think you're talking Michoud? They're working on rocket
engines, or parts of rocket engines. I'm not sure if they made the whole engine, but
yeah, it was probably Michoud. It's part of NASA,
right?
Yeah, that's Michoud.
And they're still making rocket. I think
they're doing they make
Rocketdyne has a hand in
the SLS.
Yeah. Or they're doing the RS-25s, or
they do the core stage of it, so they don't do the engine themselves. The engines are
Rocketdyne.
Yeah. And then tested at Stennis.
Yeah, that company in New Orleans. Stennis is just up the road from New Orleans anyway.
Yeah.
But I know the company that's in New Orleans got bought. It's a subsidiary got bought out by Rocketdyne. Rocketdyne was trying to take over everything until Elon Musk came on.
Yeah, then he bought everything.
Yeah.
And now there's rumors that ULA is being broken up, but we'll see.
That's what's funny about ULA. It was broken up to begin with, and then they put everything together, and now they're thinking about going their own separate ways again, because apparently they can't integrate a rocket worth a damn. That is the one problem with getting Boeing and General Dynamics and Lockheed, and who else has been involved in that thing?
8 other companies. There's a lot.
They put 8 companies together. Each one put their little bit into the rocket system. And what did they call that when you're in school and you have to do a class project, a team project? So you get 4 or 5 kids working on the same thing.
Group
Yeah.
or a bad idea.
And there's always that one kid that doesn't want to do anything. So
And there's always that one kid that gets stuck doing everything because the other 4 kids don't want to do anything.
So SpaceX and the U.S. government.
well, that's like ULA is, they put companies together. And Boeing will be working on something, and General Dynamics come in and say, hey, let us help you on that. No, go away.
Sorry, we're using Phillips head screws. You can't come in and play.
What is that? There are 2 standard screws in the United States: the flat tip, the straight screw, and the Phillips head, which is the cross tip. But there's a completely different screw that they use in Canada. And it's actually a better screw. I can't remember the name of it right offhand.
Which one? The square one?
Yeah.
Or
now he knows what I'm
It's the
talking
one
about.
they built. It's the one they build trailers with in the U.S. Mobile homes are
It's got
put
a
together
name.
with those things.
Yeah, it's kind of like Philips. Philips was invented by Philips Electronics, so the
it's
kids couldn't open television.
Robertson,
The Robertson screws.
also known as a square screw or a screw lock.
And now they have the different varieties of star-shaped ones, which
It's like
are
Torx.
Torx. That's
Not to be confused with Peter Tork.
There are several different varieties of those that have multiple axes, and you get one that go, we'll sell you one of our bits along with the screws that you're fixing to buy, but you've got to pay a little extra. And then you use it, and by the time you get through the job, those bits are worn out. They might as well be just circles.
It's like they took that square screw from Canada and said, well, that one's got 4 corners. Let's make one of 5. And then let's make one of 6. Then 7, then 8, 9, 12. And eventually, it doesn't even look like a screw anymore. It looks like it accidentally got hit with an arc welder.
And the Torx, they look like somebody took 2 Phillips head patterns and made a asterisk out of them. Some of those are really good. Depends on who actually made the screws themselves and who actually made the bit that you have to drive them. And I think I actually bought some once. Instead of being all straight angles, there were curves in between.
I bought a set, 2 sets actually, of hex key. People call them Allen wrenches, but that isn't necessarily correct. But hex keys is actually a little bit more accurate. But I bought some. They've got a ball joint on the end of them.
Yeah, I've got some in the toolbox.
And what's really nice, instead of having to get the key directly into the hole where it's straight up and down, because it's got a ball joint, you can twist it at various angles, which comes in real handy if you're trying to work in tight spaces.
Yeah, when I worked in the injection molding factory, 90% of the things that we were working on were hex of one flavor or another. So I had hex keys that were for a ratchet set and for a 3/4 drive and shit like that for doing all that. But occasionally to get everything started, we'd go ahead and we'd use the ball joint ones because people think when you start using a hex wrench, that you use it that end the entire time. No, that ball joint is to get it started and to get it to where it's finger tight, and then you flip in and you hit it with the short end to go ahead and torque it down.
Yep.
Otherwise, you will end up, rounding out the interior of the bolt.
Oh, we have two Zach. Oh, I see what happens. Okay, hang on a second. We got that Zach, and then I will get rid of that Zach. Okay.
Sorry, I think the internet here is a little spotty. So,
You think
It's
that
better
close,
than the one Joe Dog was using from the hotel.
you think that close to NASA, the internet would be really great.
well, I haven't broken out my Starlink yet, so I'll set that up tomorrow. So
Zach is half Mogwai. Someone threw water on him.
It's kind of like this used to drive me nuts. I'd go down to Ace Hardware. I'd be getting whatever I needed at Ace Hardware. And I'd go in to use their bathroom. And it never failed. The bathroom would be broke. Toilets would be leaky. Sink valves wouldn't work. Be stuff torn off the walls where somebody tried to pull a towel down. I'm like, it's a hardware store. How hard is it for them to go in the back, get the stuff to fix this, and fix it?
that takes time.
First,
Yeah,
they have
my-
to order it from China and wait 6 to 8 months for delivery.
No, okay, that one's out of stock. And they don't bother ordering it to get it in stock so they can use it to fix their own stuff.
You would think that a hardware store would be the best, well-maintained building in the whole damn town. Okay.
Just because they can sell it doesn't mean they can use it.
They're supposed to. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man. Perhaps you've heard the commercial.
Hardware
Look, if you
tells you how
go
to
into a
use it.
place that is put together with pop rivets,
Hey, I like pop rivets.
get back out to the parking lot, go someplace else.
Be right back.
I have. I have a neighbor next door. He new neighbor. He bought the house from Chris. And Chris had this problem. There's this one drain pipe on the side of his porch that was never installed properly, so it's fallen off. And I kept telling Chris, "Hey, I'll help you fix that." He says, "Oh well, we'll get out here one day and get it fixed." Never happened. It never fails. We get one good storm, a lot of water going through the drain pipe. You find the drain pipe laying in the yard wherever the water took it. So, and
Pink Bink. Yeah.
I don't like this new neighbor. He's new. Let's just put it that way. He is not the neighbor I would have chosen if I'd had a choice in the matter. And I keep seeing that drain pipe falling off, laying in his yard, and I'll just sit there and sip my coffee.
Could show you how to fix that, but I don't like you, so I'm not.
Exactly. It's drain pipe. Your problem now, pal. No, I'll just leave it at that. I don't like him, and there's a word I would use to describe him, but I won't. So, but let's put it this way. It is a word that was commonly used by Sandor Clegane in Game of Thrones. Just leave it at that. Anybody that watched Game of Thrones and knows and is a fan of Sandor Clegane knows exactly which word I'm referring to now.
Nope.
Rhymes with runt.
I can see why you don't want to say it on the air.
Yep. Joe's already in trouble with Facebook. I don't need to get him anymore.
Really. That would certainly seal the deal right there. Oh,
I hope Zach comes back. But because what did he say? He was down there for the what did it say? Falcon Heavy launch, which those are kind of cool. But the only problem is with the Falcon Heavy, it's cool when they recover all 3 rockets, because that's just really cool. Watching all 3 of them things come back and land is just awesome.
yeah. Like God and Heinlein intended, yes.
They always land 2 of them back at the Cape, and then the center section, usually lands on a boat. It's kind of, you get to see the whole.
Well, it went the furthest, yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Oh,
I always wondered if SpaceX is ever going to come up with a second stage for the Falcon 9 that is recoverable.
it's entirely possible.
It is, but
I don't know how long it would take them to decide that they need it.
Well, if they can ever get Starship running, they may. I don't know if they'll keep Falcon 9 running after Starship. Of course, that's their commercial workhorse now, so I can see them.
Yeah, they probably will. They're 2 different jobs, 2 different rockets. I mean, right tool for the right job.
Well, the thing is, if you get Super Heavy reliable and going up as reliable as Falcon 9, instead of just sending up 1 satellite with a Falcon 9, you could deploy a Starship vehicle that would deploy dozens of satellites in 1 launch. Which, boy, you talk about something that'll pay for itself real damn quick.
Yeah, really. Those things aren't cheap.
They showed that one, the animation of the Starship that was deploying the Starlink system.
Mm-hmm.
And it went up and it got into orbit, and there's a bay on the side that looks like it literally reminded me of an old cassette tape player in a truck. There was a slot in the side of the Starship, and it kept kicking satellites out of the slot. And there's like this big magazine inside the rocket that's just loading more satellites up to that slot, and the slot's just kicking them out. And I'm like, cool.
Oh, sounds like your landmine deploying machine that you were talking about earlier. Only these aren't supposed to blow up.
Well, we don't know that.
Well, we hope they're not supposed to. But then again, they aren't manufactured with professional tools, so.
Not you, Dan. I'm talking to. I was talking to Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if I could show this on. I don't see why I couldn't. Joe shows Starship stuff all the time. Is this the one I wanted? Wait a minute. Go back one. Here we go. Can y'all see that? Or can't? Oh, there we go. That's that one I was talking about.
Yeah. It's like a Pez dispenser.
It is. It's a Starship Pez. You know, Elon Musk is missing an opportunity right there. He should build a Starship Pez dispenser.
Or at least market or license one.
Hey, we are talking about a guy that built a flamethrower to crowdfund some of his projects. So where did that idea come from? How are we going to raise money to build this Starship? I know, we'll sell flamethrowers.
And farmers go, hey, yeah.
Don't laugh. I need to weed torch my front yard.
I'm just saying, people with concrete driveways sometimes need a flamethrower.
Yeah, we have I got to go up and do the curb because I got all the weeds growing out along the side of the road.
Yep.
We got a good rain last night, so I can't do it right away. I got to wait till everything dries up a little bit. For those of you who don't know, they make this neat little torch about 3 foot long, goes on the end of a propane bottle. You light it, and it's specifically designed for farmers to go along their fence line and get rid of the weeds underneath their barbed wire fences. But it has other uses, like starting a grill.
I'm sure that's not the only other use.
Oh no, there's
can be conceived.
Use your imagination.
My imagination is pretty good.
Defrosting windshields. That's another good one.
Ooh, you got to be careful with that one.
Have you seen the guy that built the flamethrower for his car's windshield wipers?
No, I haven't. I have seen the guy with the flamethrower that is a set of bagpipes, but no.
This guy, he modified a windshield washer fluid system with alcohol and an igniter. Okay. And he flips the switch and it squirts alcohol onto his ice-covered windshield and ignites it. And I'll give him credit for one thing. It worked pretty good. I was like, I'm going to watch this car burst in flames.
I'm just sitting here going, I wonder how many windshields they had to test that on before they actually found a working setup. Flame, iced over windshields. Sounds like a formula for shattered windshields to me.
Heated wiper blades. That's an interesting one.
Flame-throwing wiper blades?
No, they're electrically heated.
Oh, okay. Hey, I usually wind up having to replace my wiper blades after wintertime because sometimes the normal defroster does not actually work fast enough for the time constraints I have to be leaving the driveway after I get out of bed and get dressed and crank up the car. I can sit there, but
Would help so that
gets worse and worse and worse every minute.
No ice and slush gets under the blade, so you have to roll down the window and do the.
Well,
missed it.
My mom's husband was having problems. He has a Toyota, and he has to go to work very early. Sometimes he has to leave the house at 4:30 in the morning, which in cold, icy conditions means going out there and scraping the windows for 20 minutes every damn morning. So I came up with this idea. I had a terrarium heater for reptiles.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 2 foot long, about a foot wide, something like that. Not quite 3 foot long, but it you set it underneath an aquarium, you plug it in, and it keeps the aquarium nice and warm, about 100 degrees. So we ran an extension cord out to his car, put this thing up in the windshield, put a pillow behind it so the pillow would hold it up against the windshield, and ran it on a timer in the garage. So he'd set it, and like an hour before he got ready to go to work, this thing would come on. Sure enough, works like a charm. He goes out there, and there's the whole area right around that windshield and pillow is
melt the dash. Melt the dash?
No.
Oh,
it's only 100 degrees. You know, your dashboard needs to be able to handle better than 120 just because of sunlight.
Yeah. Really, 320. I do
You
live
know-
in Georgia, and we do have
Hey.
summers.
Ray Bradbury taught me the point at which book paper burns into flame. Okay. Somebody needs to write a book based on the point at which your dashboard basically melts and crumbles and turns into,
It depends on the type of thermoplastic used.
Actually, it
waiting for
would,
somebody to-
yes.
I'm waiting for somebody to figure out that you could cover the dash in solar panel and
But that would work.
see. I've always, they've got these reefer trailers for tractor trailer rigs, 53 foot, and they've got the reefer unit on the front end of it. They run on like 2-cycle fuel or something of that nature. They call it reefer fuel. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Runs the air conditioner.
Hmm.
And you can set it'll keep everything inside that trailer frozen or keep it from freezing depending on the cargo. I've always wondered why somebody didn't put solar panels across the top of the trailer and run those things off of electricity from the solar panels.
I have often wondered why parking lots and highways are not roofed in with solar panels.
In Arizona, you will find parking lots that are roofed. And, they'll put sunshades over the cars and their solar panels to run the lights at the parking garage. I don't know about others.
It just struck me as a very common sense solution. I mean,
We have here in Chattanooga, you've probably seen it, Dan, the TVA building downtown,
Mhm.
Tennessee Valley Authority's headquarters, and it's covered in solar panels. And last year when last winter, it got really cold. We had rolling blackouts in Chattanooga. It's the first time we've ever in recorded history had a rolling blackout. And this is like the home of TVA. How the hell do we have rolling blackouts? We have hydroelectric projects, we have nuclear reactors, we have solar panels, wind farms.
There should be plenty of sources out there, yes.
What were we doing? Selling it to California?
No, that's water.
No,
We're selling
teenagers
that
are leaving the
Atlanta.
lights on.
Hmm?
Teenagers are leaving the lights on instead of turning them off as they go out of a different room.
All damn cell phones.
There are a lot of situations where a imaginative use for a solar panel would probably improve situations immensely. I mean,
I was that close. We started having those rolling blackouts. I was that close to breaking out the generator.
I have been thinking, although I haven't discussed it with my wife, which is this is a major expense, but for ice storm season and tornado season, I have been wondering whether or not it would be cost effective to get one of these battery banks with its own solar array. It's
best one out
temporary.
there-
You can, when you don't need it, you can fold it up and put it in the closet.
The best backup generator you can get right now. Okay. And it's just like, I want a backup generator, but I don't know when I'm ever going to need to use it. They've got these ones that run on propane.
Mm-hmm.
So you go out and you buy your big bottle of propane to hook it up to it. And what's really nice about it is you turn the propane off and you don't have to worry about fuel leaking or deteriorating like gas. No, gasoline will go bad over time.
Mm-hmm.
I think diesel fuel will too, but I'm not too sure about how long.
It's
a time.
probably a longer time.
Much longer. But propane, as long as you close the valve on the propane bottle, it'll be good until the valve rots. And what's really cool about that is if you got propane bottles laying around the house, not only can you run your generator, you can cook your food.
Now, I have
Hey,
one of those.
like-
I have one of those little camp stoves, a little 2-eye propane powered camp stove, and
Like the man said, propane and propane accessories.
it's one of those things that I hope the weather does not make me use, but I have lived through situations where I wished I had one when I didn't, and now I do. It's basically it's a weight off my mind. There's always this emergency backup system. I know. I can walk out to the woods, cut me down a tree, and cook everything on the barbecue grill. Yes, I am that much of a redneck. I have. We have seen.
I keep grills around the house just for such emergencies. I don't
have
use them any other
seen severe weather situations where neighbors would come over because we had a fireplace at my mom's, and be able to cook an entire meal in a fireplace. I have been in the SCA. I have studied history. I know how this works. You can do things. You can do amazing things with cast iron cookery. Seriously, there's no reason why people should be feeling that helpless and less as in the modern day. You can't go 30 seconds without a fully charged cell phone. If you're going to go 14 days without electricity, you probably should look into alternative methods of keeping yourself alive.
Hey, I can recharge my cell phone in my car. So, that's. I wonder how many people, when the power went out, didn't think about that.
Yeah, really. I had a it was a little thing called a Power Monkey, and it came with a set of adapters where you could use this thing to charge its power bank in every country in the world off of their grid, or it came with a solar cell that you could put on a shoulder strap of a backpack and walk around charging this little battery backup thing, and then plug it into your cell phone, plug it into your computer, well, laptop, and charge that up. Probably would charge a laptop 1.5 times, maybe 2 times before needing to be refilled. Would charge a cell phone 12 times before needing to be refilled. And you could just, hey, I'm in England. Okay, here's the right plug. Power it up. Okay, here's my phone. Power it up. It was neat, and basically the little solar panel was a gimmick, but if you were walking around in the sunshine and needed to charge up the power bank so you could charge your cell phone, it would work. It would charge up. It charged up my laptop after only 4 hours of just hanging the solar cell in the window.
When digital cameras first came out,
Yeah.
and they took a couple AA batteries to run the darn things, I saw this thing. I thought it was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. They had this camera bag that you put it over your shoulder. But on the lid of it was a little flexible solar panel that you could plug it. It had a charger for AA batteries in the camera. So you could take the batteries, put them on the little charger in there, and it would A, keep your batteries topped off for when you needed to use the camera. And B, it would charge your batteries if they were dead, but you had to put it someplace like in direct sunlight. But indirect sunlight, just like you were walking around over a bag, would keep your batteries topped off. So.
People have had lots and lots of really good ideas. Some of them have not been blessed with fully thought out what's the word? Damn it. Some of them have been not blessed, but cursed with not fully thought out implementation. The systems are there. They will work. You just have to figure out how to make them work best. The canal boat videos I watch, almost everybody has got different varieties of solar panels on the roof of the boat. They actually make totally electric boats that are just roofed in solar panels. And you get a decent amount of sunlight, that thing will keep going for days and days and days. There are a lot of things working in the background that you don't think about. Sort the type of batteries you got, how big a battery bank you've got, the inverter that you've got, how good of an inverter that you've got. But these things are pretty damn cool and a reasonable price point, a reasonable cost for a set of solar panels wired into your boat will actually run a refrigerator, a freezer, a washing machine, and all the lights and DC power outlets that you have through there if you're using normal 12 volt. In addition to the normal, what comes out of the inverter is the 240 volt current that they use in England. Now, you will drain the batteries really quickly if you don't have sunlight to charge them up, or you could crank up your engine and run it for a couple of hours, and the alternator on the engine will charge up your what they call leisure battery bank. Leisure battery is what you use to run the house. The starter battery is what you use for the engine. And
The
those
leisure
systems
battery
can
is what
cross
you use
over.
to power your house of ill repute. Oh, wrong kind of batteries.
That's a hell of a lot of double A's.
Okay.
But
Why does
I've
this thing say Black and Decker?
because you want it to keep going and going and going.
They call it a hammer drill for a reason.
All right.
We're I think we found the reason that we really actually should have rails, but choose to ignore their existence.
Hey, some people.
What? I'm talking about a perfectly normal device used for construction when you need to drill a hole in a wall to be able to run conduit or something like that. I mean, That's fine. I'm sticking to it.
I think Rich got banned there for a minute.
He didn't get banned.
Well, we got 20 minutes left in the show, and
Stealing internet from Bill again, aren't you?
you know, Bill went and bought internet. Okay, so
Yes, I do. Yes,
he
I
actually
do.
has a real internet.
I
I guess we got to
surprised.
quit making. I guess we got to quit making internet jokes about him.
Well, maybe for old time's sake, but remains to be seen. He was kind of last time he was on. It was still kind of hit or miss for the broadcast value, but he is either using a tablet or a cell phone. So that's one of those things.
One of the problems
you
with
actually
using
need advanced
StreamYard,
processor power.
my laptop doesn't like using StreamYard wireless. Okay. It's okay, but I've noticed certain places I go to, if I try to use StreamYard wireless, it doesn't, static.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a Cat5 cable running to my router into my laptop from the router. So it seems to do fine that way.
Yep, I've got the same arrangement for my laptop here. When I actually fire it up and tell it to search for updates for any of the programs, I run the Cat5. I mean, seriously, I do not want to use the Wi-Fi for that. There are too many things where you might miss a 1 or a 0 that you really need because you're using Wi-Fi instead of.
Well, that's also why the application is supposed to use a checksum to make sure that all the packets have actually arrived.
Yeah, well, there have been times when I think it missed an entire more than one packet, but in the checksum told it was missing something, but it tried to do the update anyway, and the results were less than stellar.
Hilarity did not ensue.
Hilarity ensued. Connectivity did not ensue. These things, they happen. As technology gets better, humans have a propensity for finding new ways to mess that up.
One of my favorite quotes ever, it used to actually be written across the back of my toolbox when I worked in the plastics factory, is nothing is foolproof to a sufficiently talented fool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went into the business of supporting the sufficiently talented fools.
Used to see this stuff that they said, we made it military tough. And we're like combat engineers. Okay. Our job is destroying military tough. Okay.
There's a certain branch of the service, which I will not insult, who is famous for being able to
Kill people and break things.
misuse equipment in such a way that they're not to be trusted with an anvil because they will break it. I mean, this is a perfect machine that has no moving parts. Well,
It's got moving parts now.
Really.
Anything
Some are moving that way, and some are moving that way at about 100 miles an hour.
Part with the proper application of high explosives. It may only have one part, but we can make it move.
Really rapidly fast.
Give us a few minutes and there'll be lots of parts.
Hey, we are
And
talking about the
sparkly
people that figured out how to put a manhole into orbit.
American engineering at its finest.
If it didn't evaporate as achieving.
Yeah, really, if it did. And
There's still
believe
some
me,
debate over whether or not it actually made it into outer space or not.
I don't think high-speed cameras were good enough to figure out which at that time.
Okay. My bet is that because they actually caught it in one frame on the high-speed camera, it actually made it out of the atmosphere. It actually made it out of orbit. So, be just our luck. Aliens finally want to contact us, and they get hit in the face with a manhole cover and 60,000 miles an hour.
They've discovered railgun technology and they're deploying it against us. Kill them.
No wonder they fly past and lock the doors. We're one of those bad neighborhoods you don't want to get caught in.
There's a sci-fi story for you. Aliens want to make contact with us, and they get hit with a manhole cover.
I'm just thinking of aliens flying through space and what equates to a green 70s station wagon with wood paneling. And the father's just like, this solar system is great. There's a lot of culture here, and all of a sudden that manhole cover just goes flying by, and he's like, roll him up.
Lock the doors. We're going to Alpha Centauri instead. There's nobody there. It's a quiet, peaceful planet, like basketball.
If any of the viewers are confused about the imagery I just painted, National Lampoon's Vacation.
There is a movie. It's a sci-fi movie where a bunch of people are rescuing some aliens the government captured and trying to set them free. One of the things I love is the one guy was talking about, what do you think they'll think about Earth from now on out? And the old cowboys with them goes, headhunters. They'll put up a big sign outside Earth's orbit that says, danger, headhunters.
Approach at your own risk. We are not responsible.
Who is the youngest Carradine brother? He was in Revenge of the Nerds.
You got me on that one.
Robert
Carradine? Is that the one?
I think.
He was in it. What's her name from the Runaways? Cherry. I'm so terrible with names sometimes. She was in it, and you'd recognize the cowboy too. So that's strange enough. He played a Marine. He played a commando in Doctor Strangelove.
Whoa.
He was the guy that was holding Peter Sellers at bay with the gun. Kept calling him a pervert. He played the cowboy in that thing.
You tried one of your pre-versions on him. Yeah.
I'm ordering you to shoot open that lock. That's the property of the Coca-Cola company.
It's about like getting chased by the telephone police. Thank you, WKRP, for that reference. We've covered some ground here tonight, gentlemen.
Yeah, we've gone from sunglasses to atomic weapons.
To atomic manhole covers.
Atomic manhole covers.
Somehow or another, I think we should drop in Ralph Bakshi animation here somewhere, just because ain't nobody said anything about Ralph Bakshi in years. Probably could use some good press right about now.
No, really. I've got Ralph Bakshi's fan site on my Facebook. It's one of my Facebook groups. And every so often, apparently they're selling a bunch of cells that his animation people have done over the years. Kind of neat. Because, the last thing he did of note was Cool World.
Yes.
Which was excellent. Nice.
I enjoyed it. I also enjoyed Wizards. I also enjoyed the stuff that he did for one of the animated versions of Lord of the Rings trilogy.
And then American Pop.
Yeah, that one I haven't seen.
Really, watch that. It's kind of interesting. And of course, Fritz the Cat.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't your kids' animation.
Well, evidently he worked on the animation for the 60s cartoon of Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah, I just found that out tonight. I don't know how much he did. I don't know how much credit he gets for it, but I really enjoyed that back in the day.
Interesting rotoscope technique that he did.
That was that was one
where
of
they
the
would
things.
take old newsreel footage and paint over it, like he would turn Nazis into demons with horns and red eyes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That he used that in the Wizards and the Lord of the Rings movie that he was doing. And both I really enjoyed. Rotoscoping is one of those techniques where, when it's done right, you've got absolutely fluid movement in the animation. I mean, it is real people being drawn over, basically. And when it's done wrong, it's a little weird. But he pretty much pioneered doing it right in the modern age. I mean, it was most famously used for the Fleischer Brothers Superman cartoon way back in the day that my parents watched in the movie theaters. That's an excellent little series. They didn't actually produce enough of them, in my opinion, but the ones they did do were really good, and were reused in the Kirk Allen Superman serial, the movie serial, way back when. There were two of them actually. Very well done. The Fleischer Brothers just did the flying sequences, not anything else in there. But it was neat. It was neat.
I think a lot of people that don't know what rotoscope is, they film an actor acting out the parts, and they go in and they draw their cartoon, the animation, over the actor's movement frame by frame, so that what you get is the animation matches the actor's movement. So instead of being jerky cartoon movement, it's you're watching the person that is actually dancing. And it's I'm not sure who invented it, but I know Disney used it a lot with Snow White and Cinderella.
Filmation used it a lot in the
And I think Pinocchio.
In the 70s, I do believe it was, with lots of their superhero cartoons, Tarzan, Batman, that sort of thing.
But it makes for very interesting cartoons because the movement is real. You don't wind up with family circus cartoons.
And when it's done right, it is extremely good. When it's not done right, it gets a little eerie. What is the word? What's the phrase? Uncanny Valley. That's the way. That's the one.
Clover Valley? You mean like Dollar General store?
No, I mean Uncanny Valley, as in this robot is almost right, but it's spooky. That's the Uncanny Valley sort of thing.
Oh, Dawn, you're late.
Oh, well, let's see. We got 4 minutes. Well, actually, we've got 4 minutes. No, we've got less than 4 minutes. Remember, 2 minutes for the end credits, Daniel.
Oh, that's your problem. I can shut this thing off anytime I want to. Starting the other show is your problem.
Hey, I'm ready. All I got to do is click here and then click there.
All right. I'd like to thank Joe for not showing up tonight because the show actually ran right. And if he ever gets out of Facebook jail,
one of these days he's going to figure out how he keeps getting into Facebook jail.
hey, I don't think Facebook knows why he's in Facebook jail. They just
oh, it's that McKeel guy. We got to block him.
pretty much. And I'd like to thank our guest tonight. We had Stephanie Osborne showed up, and then Zach showed up and talked some rock. I don't know what happened with Zach. He just kind of disappeared.
Well, he was having.
I sent him a message. He ain't messaged me back.
He was having sinus problems anyway, so
I hope he didn't get a snoot full of concrete.
I don't think he was that close, but that probably distributed some fragments a long way away.
That and it's Texas. There's no telling what kind of crap's in that soil.
This is true. This is true.
Not that there's anything wrong with Texas soil. It's just it's on the coast, down where all the oil production and the explosive production and fishing and your fishing industry, your shrimp shells and stuff like that. Trust me, they blow up anything down there. You're going to get a snoot full of some of the weirdest shit you've ever heard of being a sinus infection.
And on that note, it's time.
It is time. Say good night, everybody. Thanks for showing up.
Good night, everybody. I hope we insufficiently bored you.
Night, folks.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up the long long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.
Did not get away with it. Fuck, 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 fuck.